All right, TechTalk viewers, this is our 2012 XLE hybrid, and its screen is on its last legs. There's a little kind of a dying spot here, and the radio doesn't really work, so we're going to try to install an aftermarket Android screen that we got on Amazon. So let's see how this works. First time, no skills. We're going to watch the YouTube channel and see what we can do to pry this thing apart. All right, so here's the replacement. Looks like it'll fit in this area here, and it looks like it's gonna be a nice shiny screen here. And we just have to figure out how to get this onto this. Good thing there's a good YouTube video that has step-by-step instructions, so we won't belabor the point here, but we'll kind of go along with that and see how long this takes and how easy of an install this is. First step was just to pry this area here, and this does come simply off. That's pretty cool. Those vents were just held in with nothing, basically. Okay, next step, prying this panel up, which is just held on clips here. So good, so far so good. 2 steps down, many to go. Okay, third part is to remove this molding here, which is just held on clips. I'm surprised how much of this car is just like held together by clips. So this molding here, just get behind the edge and then gently pry forward. There you go. Car just falls apart pulling on it. So next part here was taking off this cover that allows you to manually shift gears. So taking that off, pushing down with a screwdriver right here, and you're able to shift from park to neutral. Make sure your parking brake's on, which I double checked before I did this. Then the top of this gear shift here just screws off like a knob. So we're going to pry this off to have more access to this shroud here, but that requires this whole center console to be shifted back. So I'm going to move this back. Okay, I found the first mistake on the instructional video. This is not a 10mm bolt, at least in this 2012 XLE Camry. It's a 12mm bolt, so 12mm fits, but 10 was too small. So I'm just moving this kind of chassis back a little bit here, which is bolted in the armrest storage compartment here. So let's get this off so we can rock this back and remove the shroud from below. This area is pretty tight, so you will need an extension here to get to that bolt because your wrench won't have anywhere to move in here. And even with this extension, I don't know if we're making too much. Yeah, well, I think I can get loose enough that I can probably I can hand unscrew these. Not too tight. Awkward position to bolt these things down, right? Yeah. There we go. There's one there. One here. And then the center console should be able to rock back now. That's all we need to do. Just kind of move that back. I did have extra connectors. There's one connector here, but because mine was a hybrid with eco mode and EV only ports, I had to unplug 2 from the video. Okay, this allows us to access this part, which will come out next. All right, this one just comes out pretty easily here. And we'll have a couple of connections to the USB auxiliary and also the charging port, which is on the back here. And we are just going to remove these connections over here. I found it easiest when removing these connections. Find the little tab, use a flathead screwdriver and just kind of depress that as you pull back, and that comes out pretty easily like that. And there's one, and then this one, tabs on the back side here. So I'll push kind of on the back, gently pull. There we go. So that's kind of all in one unit here. And this is storage box. I'm running out of space to put stuff. Put that down there. Ooh, weird stuff down there. We're getting closer. Okay, the next part to remove the actual stereo does require an extension 10mm. So these bolts are 10mm. There's not enough room down there unless you have an extension to kind of get these bolts loose. There's another one down here. All the way down in there. Okay, once they're loose, then they're pretty easy to take off, yeah. And this mounts the radio. So 4 of these bolts. And these ones are 10mm bolts. Okay. Okay, once the bolts are out, then we just pry this forward. And now we have the whole radio exposed here. And that's our nest of connectors, and we're going to need to remove all those, and then all these little yellow clips we're going to have to retain. And this chassis we're still going to have for the bottom AC control units. Wow, that is a rat's nest of wires. So now we're going to begin the process of removing all these connectors. Easiest way is to find the little kind of the lever or clip there, to press it, and then things come out easier if you kind of push that down and pull. And we're just going to take off these connectors. Thing here. And there's another one down there. Okay, so we've unhooked everything, and this is the old radio CD-ROM chassis with all these clips. So now the next challenge is to get all these clips off so that we can use them with the new harness, which is over there, and then connect all that together and reverse all this cycle. Okay, there's a clip transfer process. So these clips, which are like this, are pretty easy to remove. Just get a small screwdriver, kind of lift up on one side, pop it, and kind of push the other side. And then these ones are going to go back onto the plastic molding frame of your new device so that they kind of snap back into place. So, you know, these aftermarket kits could just give you some new clips, but I see potentially that these get broken and then people get frustrated. They've done so much, why not just give clips? Note these ones are only half clips. These are full clips down here and down here. These are half. This one's flat on that side, this one's flat on that side. So it's probably good just to have these side by side so that you know which clips go where rather than taking them all off. So this kind of needs 2 hands, but here, this one I can show you. Kind of just go in and under, push, and they pop off. Just like that. And that one will go... Oh, that one actually goes on the heater. That will actually go over there. So I don't know if I need to take all those off. I'll just kind of check, but we'll work on these ones first. All right, that was super tough. So eventually I had to kind of get right underneath this side and get that screwdriver right through that hole. And you can see kind of, oh, where am I? Here we are. You can see that it takes some delicately prying just to get that screwdriver through that hole to be able to release this clip. So that's the strategy of how to release these 2 top clips without breaking them. Then you can finally transfer it over there. Whew. It took a long time to get 6 clips on. Well, I had my first casualty. One of the plastic molding brackets broke as I kind of moved this off of that area there, but hopefully that doesn't affect too much, as the other clips should still work. I guess I can always glue it back on. Just super glue that. We'll see if that holds. Okay, 4 more clips. These ones are the flat ones, so they pop up really easily and fall down into the seat area here. And then here's another one. Lift up, kind of poke up here, and it should pop up. Wiggle, jiggle. There's a little hole. See, once you get the hole, then it's easy to come out. And then over here, I have to figure out where that other one went down there. All right, I found it down actually in there. So now we have all of our clips installed on the back of our new Android radio. So I was wondering why this AC unit wasn't working to enter this clip here. And I thought I remembered a warm reminder, and check this out. Warm reminder, in some cases, in order for AC controller module to be properly embedded, you need to trim the mold. So what you can see is that the second of these brackets over here, there is a little lip over here that is too tall. And this plastic over here actually prevents this bracket from going all the way down, because it just runs into that area there and actually has to drop another little bit down to here. So basically this inner lip of plastic needs to be trimmed down to over this height on both sides of this mold here. So fortunately this is plastic. I guess I will use some wire cutters and try to cut that down to about over here to the end of this clip down to there. Kind of weird that this is the Android chassis, needs to have some trimming here. You would think that this would have been molded down to there, but that explains why this guy isn't fitting. So I'm gonna have to trim down this chassis. So if you're having a hard time kind of getting it installed and you're like, why isn't this going on? It's because of this little mold here. So I got a pair of small wire cutters, and what we're going to do is just trim this plastic molding down. Right there. It's almost like nail clippers, so that that can come down into the bracket here. I think it should be down at that level down here. So hopefully that allows that to get there. Same thing with this side here. All right. Gonna get that down a little lower here, just to make sure that bracket isn't in the way. All right, let's see if that works. Where'd my chassis go? Okay, it's over here. So that should now clear that area, hopefully. Okay, after trimming, finally got that flush. So the clips are all the way in. Make sure that you pare it down all the way to the bottom of the yellow bracket. Otherwise, you're going to have a little gap. So finally, we've been able to pair this new AC control unit, or the old AC control unit, to the new Android chassis. There is a little bit of an overhang that's intentional, but all the buttons are still accessible. Okay, now to electronic wiring. Okay, so big issue I have with this model that I just got is the wiring diagram. Check out the wiring diagram, guys. Look at the back of this unit, and then take a look at this unit. The wiring diagram is totally different. So we're flying blind because all these wires have no diagram. So what I could figure out is that most of the things plug and play, and it looks like this CAN bus / tangle of mess black will go into here. That's the main connector. Now you have a bunch of little connectors here, two of which appear. It looks like this one is a USB connector, and that's like only 4-port one that goes over here. Then we have some aftermarket connectors for, I think if you have JBL wireless, JBL sound system, that looks like it would go in here and then connect to all your RCAs. Our car does not have kind of a fancy setup like that. So then we have random camera in. I think this is for an aftermarket camera because there is a thing on the back here saying if you have an original camera, then just use this thing, which is this guy over here, or maybe over here. I have no idea. But the reverse camera, I don't even know where the reverse camera input line is on this, but we connected all the floating connectors with the adapters, and I have these leftover things that I really have no idea what all this is. There's an 8-pin connector, and I think that has something to do with your steering wheel buttons not working. And the 8-pin connector seems to go in there. So make sure we connect the 8-pin connector. And then USB. Oh, antenna and 4G. I don't even know why we have an antenna. Maybe that antenna is for probably the radio and then GPS. I figure the GPS antenna is fatter. This one is longer. Nothing is labeled, and they both have the same kind of adapter. So I'm going to go with the fatter one for GPS and 4G, and I'm just going to route it through the glove compartment. So I found a little kind of cubby over here, and this kind of pops out, and there's a hole directly through here into the console area here. So you can see there's a hole there, so we're just going to route it there rather than routing it up kind of the front or anything. And we'll hide it all in the glove box. And if the GPS really doesn't work, I really don't care that much because this has CarPlay enabled and our cell phone should be able to use its GPS. So the only other thing is there are some USB connectors that I have no idea where these route to. So both of these are also 6-pin and a 4-pin connector. Both of these go to USB ports, and there's a 6-pin and a 4, there's 2 4-pins. Ah, I know. So this 4-pin, I think, occupies one of the connectors. I'm thinking if cars don't have an auxiliary input with a USB, these are additional USB lines that can kind of connect to your Android. But you know what? We already have an auxiliary that's built into here, and this auxiliary over here already has a input that connects to the car. So we're going to plug that all back into the car, leaving... You know what? There's this antenna, and I actually don't know what the antenna goes to. Was there an antenna that I unplugged off the back? I don't think I did. So, okay, those 2 connectors down there go to the EV. Those are to the bottom. Oh, this guy over here, I think that goes down to the bottom, the ABS over here. Yeah, pretty sure that goes down to the ABS still. So I think I've deciphered this. I have no idea if this is going to work. It's a little frustrating that the diagram that came with the manufacturer does not match at all, right? So, YOLO, here goes nothing. Let's kind of connect this and see if anything works. If it doesn't, then rip. It's game over. Okay. So I did find that there's an antenna connector, and that's kind of from the original line here. It looks like this. So I think this goes back in here, and then again the 8-pin white connector, I think, to the steering wheel controls right here, and then that 4-pin to the USB, black pin there. Everything else to the original kind of dongles here, AWS, whatever that is, the black one down there, and then again that's to the big tangle of wires. What I don't know is it comes with a microphone. It's a 3.5 millimeter input. I don't know where that goes. I don't know where a microphone is needed for this. I guess voice control. I don't know where it actually inputs. So we're gonna rest that there. And I guess we should power on the car, see if anything actually works, right? So, well, signs of life are happening. Turn this on. And Android is booting up. Let's see if this thing responds. It's got a slow boot up. Android is starting. Turn on the radio. Radio. Hey, we have radio now. Let's see if... All right, steering controls do work. Good. Steering wheel controls work. Backup cam. So we're gonna go into reverse and see if this kind of goes into a backup camera. No camera detected. That's interesting. All right, it's kind of ugly, but I figured it out. The lines, I don't know if they're accurate or off a little bit here, but at least you have a backup camera. And the inputs require you to connect an RCA cable to another adapter over here from this. So this has a input, and there's actually two. So you have a 50-50 chance if the back video in or the back video in. You have to kind of guess which one of them connects the RCA here. Sorry, my doors are open and I'm in reverse right now, so it's freaking out. The camera in to a 10-pin adapter to the back of the unit with the Bluetooth antenna. Okay, so that is how you get the final piece of the puzzle working. The back camera does work, and we have connected everything successfully. Huzzah! Okay, I've put everything back together. Welcome, Chan Clan. This is a review of the... Oh gosh, I'm gonna have to describe the brand name in the link below. I can't even pronounce it, like Litillbuly something. But it is a aftermarket Android 13 10-inch screen that we just replaced in our 2012 Toyota Camry. And gosh, it took like 3 hours just because the wiring diagram didn't even match. But you know what? The thing works, and I've put everything back together the best I could. Actually, everything fit really well here, and it seems like the car is working again. Even our AC controls popped up here. Our obnoxious radio that didn't work in our old screen actually works. And check this out. The backup camera actually works, although the lines are all crazy. We'll take crazy lines for working backup camera. I don't know if my there we go. Here there's CarPlay support. There's tethering with Wi-Fi. So yeah, there's a lot of options here. Google Maps, touchscreen is responsive. It does hang up a little bit, but I'm okay with that considering the last one didn't even have a touchscreen and its display was all busted. The controls on the dial here do work. No idea what that is, but you can see that our radio works. Answering phone when paired, I guess, will work. Yeah, so you can kind of pair your Bluetooth here, and it does have CarPlay. This CAN bus also displays a lot of information. So the information from the car is actually transmitted through the CAN bus, and you actually have additional features like TPMS, which I guess that was available before as well, but all that computer data is now available in Car Info. So if you go to Car Info, you can look at your tire pressures. It has real-time tire. TPMS is in normal status. I guess that's good. You can look at your charging diagram here. Not exactly sure what all this means, but awesome. Panoramic. Well, we only have one camera, so that's what you get. But and it does glitch a little bit. I noticed that app kind of glitches out, so you have to kind of swipe down and close it. But I think we're going 1 mile an hour. Everything seems to work, right? So even our defogger, yeah. So it looks like we've hooked everything up okay. And you know, for the money, I think this was less than $200. Worth it, considering a screen like this will cost, you know, anywhere from a couple $100. And as long as this is functional, that's all we care about, right? So I was able to configure this a little bit more, and you can change the default navigation system, which is actually your car icon, to Z-Link, which has CarPlay. So that way it kind of goes right into your CarPlay interface, which is nicer because now it is basically your phone, and you can use your integrated maps. There you go. To hopefully be able to navigate. So that helps get your phone directly paired into the navigation unit here, and that way you can make calls and whatnot seamlessly. So that's one nice thing. I also noticed that there's different themes. You can kind of change different layouts if you wanted to, and then some of those buttons on the home screen are also customizable as well. So that's a different setting here. And actually, I don't know where themes went. Go back to themes, go back to the default here, and that way you have your own options. This version also allows you to so I lost the default settings, but you can kind of change that to, for example, Z-Link. We'll get you to your CarPlay. CarPlay seems a little unresponsive though right now. Could be because I'm recording video. Yeah, we're gonna go down to Taco Bell. At least that's what I set it on. What else? Radio is a little obnoxious. When you get the radio and turned on, it makes like a lot of noise, and then like you have to kind of close the radio app. And if your apps freeze, then basically swiping through Android to kind of kill the apps will relaunch, and now we have to repair just because our Z-Link Connect is, there you go. So that's where my CarPlay was. If it freezes up, then you just have to go here, hit your little window browser, swipe out, and that kills the app. Then you have to relaunch it, and then it will have to pair again. But the Z-Link here allows you with Android Auto or CarPlay to pair seamlessly. So there you have it.